So,
Oh,
Fred,
I
why
see.
did we use the word opportunities and not leads here?
Yeah. So I think lead is a four-letter word. And we've been in this, 4.5 years, and countless conferences and talking to people who buy, sell, use leads. And it always seems to elicit a bit of a negative facial expression, leads, because they've truly got a bad rap, right? As I alluded to earlier, if someone is running a pay-per-click ad on Facebook or wherever, and people are clicking on that and giving a little bit of insight into what their needs are, that demand, that person is being sold 5, 6, 7 times. Everybody's chasing that same poor. I mean, we've all been there, right? I mean, I've inadvertently pressed a couple of things. I did it 3 days ago, looking for a tutor for my daughter. I'm getting inundated. I feel like a fool because I don't know how many times I was sold to different people, and now they're chasing me. So a bit of a soliloquy on leads. Yes, we're looking at opportunities. We're not telling you exactly where that needle is in the haystack. We're just saying there's some good needles over here. You got to focus your energy and your time here.
Opportunities, this is where the fun begins. We are, at this very moment, looking at all the zip codes in Miami-Dade as well as Fairfax County, Virginia, and running a whole bunch of analyses on them, right? So point to note that we are not looking at each and every single home at this point. We are just looking at some aggregated data that we have on each of these counties to identify and narrow down, okay, what zip codes do we want to target to begin with, right? So we're looking at things like, income levels, education levels, again, all the demographic aspects that you think of, also what typically, when the homes were built, etc., to arrive at, these zip codes that then we want to pursue. Right.
So, Shyam, it's interesting. You got 2 counties. I don't know the size of Fairfax County, but Miami's a pretty good size, right? So I just want to pull on that thread a little bit more. You're saying there's 2,749 opportunities found in those 2 counties. And now somebody watching this or listening to us right now is like, wait a minute, there's a lot more single-family homes than 2,700 in those counties. Again, hit on that for me. How did we get to 2,749?
Yeah, so we took, first of all, this is a very preliminary analysis. The number 2749 is not the exact number that if someone were to ask for, okay, hey, I want all 2749, give it to me. Right? When we actually go and give it to them, it might be a little over and under. The reason for that is because at this point, what we've done is we've looked at all of the zip codes in Miami-Dade and Fairfax County, Virginia, and we have analyzed based on multiple different factors, right? Just to name a few, we've looked at the average income of these, in these zip codes, when these homes were built, owner versus renter statistic in each of these zip codes, occupancy rate, marital status rate, all of these. Now, the question then comes, okay, how do you adjudicate, how do you judge, what parameters to use? Well, we've done that. Going back to what you had said earlier, we have looked at millions of previous home roof replacement data to arrive at that algorithm that has said, okay, the typical home roof replacement happens with these parameters and you can apply that to any zip code to give a propensity score to a zip code. Just like how we give a propensity score to an individual, we could do that to a zip code as well. And given all of that, we've arrived at the top zip codes. And within those top zip codes, we've said, okay, these are how many homes, single-family residences with owners that are in these zip codes. And that's where the 2749 number comes in.
So, Shyam, Joseph just put a question in here, and I thought it was timely to ask it now. Within the preliminary analysis, you didn't mention this, but I wanted to get it on the video here. Is there a consideration for weather patterns?
Yes. So we look at, we've been using the words like a chisel and a hammer for like hail versus, like a non-hail. But yes, a weather risk score is one of the parameters that goes into the zip scoring analysis. Absolutely.
And it's really interesting when we started to dig into this. Sometimes I get drawn into these little factoids, but throughout the country, there's micro weather that we all kind of experience, right? Like if Shyam lives on one side of the valley and I'm living on the other, our houses may be built within a year of each other, same essential roof structure, same composite, whatever. Yet the houses on my side tend to fail, and we've seen them failing earlier just because of the prevailing winds and how things are going. And so we've gotten it down to that level of historical impact that I was just blown away when we were able to get to that level of detail.
Yeah. All right. Now, the next thing to do once we have these is you select how many opportunities you like. Now, of course, our pricing is dependent on the volume that you're purchasing. Now, you could do 100, 250, 500, whatever. I'm just going to go with 500. And, you can add your credit card in here. And, you type in your credit card, photo, whatever. I'm not going to do that now. And you hit pay. And that's when the heavy lifting of the processing actually begins, right? So once you hit pay, your amount will be deducted. And what we do is it takes anywhere between a few hours. So there's a little bit of a nuance here well, actually, before that, let me talk through what the sequence of steps that happens, right? So step number one, what we do is we go and get from the top zip codes that we have, we get all the leads in those particular zip codes. And then we go hit Eagleview's APIs to get the roof condition from them. And finally, we apply our algorithms on top of all of the data. And basically, we apply the propensity score. And then we give you the top whatever numbers that you've requested for, right? So,
you put in 500, but I also see here, enter a custom opportunity, cost minimum 50, but I could go up to 27.49. My pricing will vary based on the volume that I'll put in there. I put it in, as you were saying, it's going to be a couple hours, maybe a day, because we are hitting up to 3 or 4 different APIs, right? So that's our computers talking to our data providers' computers, and then we're talking to Eagleview via. And all that information is coming in. The actual AI that we're doing, the machine learning that Betty, our software, is doing, that's measured in seconds. It's the collection of the data. We got to go out there and pick all this data up, put it in the right place, and then run the machine learning, and then it's done.
Yep. Yeah, and in terms of so if you were to do it today, if someone were to come in, log in the next couple of days. It might take a day. We just have to get all the data from Eagleview API. But yeah, within a couple of weeks, we'll be fully integrated via APIs, and we'll get it back in minutes, hours.
Depending on how much you're asking for 50, it's minutes. You're asking for 5,000 or 50,000, it's going to be a little longer. What about scoring, Shyam?
Yeah. So okay. So this is when you are a roofing company, you're looking for opportunities on the want section, right? And then we gave you 500 or whatever number of opportunities you have, and then you go market to them. You did the door knocking, or you did the cold calling, or whatever marketing channel that you're pursuing.